In this video, I'm going to explain hyperbolas and its elements. The basic elements, firstly from the definition, the foci and the basic element, like in other conic sections, the foci. Here there are two foci again for the hyperbola, and we are going to use in the definition like the difference. Let me read the hyperbola definition. A hyperbola is the set of all points in the plane whose distances from two fixed points, which are foci, these two fixed points are in the plane, have constant difference. That's also this two word also is important. If you remember, in ellipse there was constant sum. Here in hyperbola we have constant difference. So when you choose any point on the hyperbola like R here, Rf prime, the distance between point and the foci, focus point, and the other focus point, all they have constant difference. Rf minus Rf prime is equal to Qf prime Qf prime minus Qf, and Pf prime Pf, they have same this difference, which is equal to also 2a, the length of the transverse axis. The transverse axis definition also I'm giving here. So the difference of the hyperbola is also here. The transverse axis, the difference between the two vertex points of the hyperbola is the length of transverse axis. So transverse axis, which the foci are on also, the conjugate is the imaginary axis for us. Actually, we are using for the definition, and we are going to see for the elements we are using also this conjugate axis. So when it looks left and right, the transverse axis is x-axis. When it looks up and down, the transverse axis is going to be y-axis. Okay, here also it mentions that the length of the transverse axis of the hyperbola with respect to this one, AA prime, which is equal to 2a. The difference between, since it is symmetric, the figure is symmetric with respect to origin, here this distance here it's going to be equal to c, and this distance it's also c, so f prime is equal to 2c. Okay, how to get the b value? We are using, if you know the 2c and 2a, then there is a relation a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared in hyperbola. So with respect to that one, you are finding the imaginary axis, conjugate axis, and the b value, the difference between two conjugate axes, conjugate values, they are going to give you the length of the conjugate axis. Okay, here is the question, and we are going to find with respect to that one the foci of hyperbola with respect to this formula I'm talking. The foci of a hyperbola are 5 and 0 and minus 5 and 0, and the transverse axis is 6. Find the length of the conjugate axis. So we are going to find the length of the conjugate axis with respect to this question I'm talking. Find the length of the b, and that's very simple question, because we understood that here the c value is equal to 5, and the transverse axis, this is also 2a, and 2a is equal to 6, c is equal to 5. So with respect to that one, I'm going to use this formula, a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared, and I'm going to find the value of b. Okay, c is equal to 5, so this is equal to 5 squared. B we don't know, it's equal to b squared, and our aim to find b, and 2a is equal to 6. So if 2a is equal to 6, a is equal to 6 over 2, a is equal to 3, it's going to be, so it's equal to 3 squared. A squared is equal to 3 squared. 3 squared plus b squared is equal to 5 squared. B squared is equal to 25 minus 9. B squared is equal to 16. B is equal to plus minus 4, it's going to be. So the length of the length is positive. The values are 4 and minus 4, it's going to be. But the length is 2b. It's going to be 2 times 4, which is equal to 8, is our answer. The length of the conjugate axis is 8 going to be. Okay, let's continue with the different type of questions. The length of transverse and conjugate axis of the hyperbola 24 and 10. Find the distances between two foci. So 24 and 10, they are equal to 2a and 2b. So 2a, if it's equal to 24, 2a if it's equal to 24, it means that a is equal to 12, or 2b is equal to 10, so b is equal to 5, it's going to be. With respect to this one, a squared plus b squared, this is the general formula for the all hyperbola, is equal to c squared, which is equal to 12 squared plus 5 squared is equal to c squared. And if I continue here, 144 plus 25 is equal to c squared. C squared is equal to 169 is equal to c squared. C is equal to plus minus 13 is going to be. The length between the two foci, it's going to be 2c, which is equal to 2 times 13, which is equal to 26. The length of the distance between two foci. Okay, the second, this is the third question, I'm sorry. The figure shows a hyperbola with foci 10 and minus 10. If PF is equal to 4, if this length is equal to 4, and PF prime is equal to 16, find the coordinates of the vertices and the lengths of axis of the hyperbola. Okay, here the important part, the difference. PF prime minus, I gave this definition, PF prime, I'm using different color for this question, PF prime minus PF prime minus PF was equal to the length of the transverse axis, which is 2a. So I will find what is the value of 2a. Okay, here it's given PF prime is equal to 16, PF is equal to 4, which is equal to 2a, and here 12 is equal to 2a, and a is going to be equal to 6. This is the first given. Actually, it is the second, because the focus point is given here, foci are given, which is c here. So c is equal to 10, that's given. And we are going to find the length of the axis. So 2a is the first axis, it's equal to 12. We found that this is the transverse axis length. Here this length is equal to 12. We found that one. And we are going to find the b firstly, then we are going to find the length of the conjugate axis. For the conjugate axis, I need this formula. A squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. A squared is 6 squared plus b squared is equal to 10 squared. 6 squared, 36. 36 plus b squared is equal to 100. And b squared is equal to 64. And b is going to be equal to, b is equal to 8. It's going to be. So the length of the conjugate axis, which is 2b, length of the conjugate axis is going to be 2 times 2b, which is equal to 16. Okay, and the last part is find the coordinates of the vertices. It says the length of the coordinates of the vertices, here 2 vertices there are, and the total distance between them is 12. So distance here it's going to be 6. That's why this is going to be equal to 6, 0, and the other side it's going to be equal to minus 6, 0 for this question. Okay, let's continue with some definitions. Here the eccentricity, like in all conic sections, is c over a, and c over a value, if it is equal to approximately 1, we are finding that actually the figure, the legs of the hyperbola, they are very close to each other. So always this c over a must be greater than 1. If it is greater than, it looks more parabola, and if it is infinity, it's closer to straight line. And like in the ellipse, we have the circles of the hyperbola, major circle and minor circle. You are understanding what is major and minor circle. Major circle, which is on the transverse axis, the distance between here, and the minor circle, it's going to be the inside, the length of the conjugate axis. It's going to be okay. With respect to that one, we are defining, and the last one is C, a square plus b square. At the same time, it's equal to c square. Yes, here the new definition for the hyperbola: asymptotes. Asymptotes where the function cannot touch. That's why this green line and this point line is not going to intersect. This is the boundary for the hyperbola, and the way to find that one, y is equal to plus minus b over a x. Okay, now I gave the definitions, and I'm going to solve this question, and we are going to finish the lesson. Okay, hyperbola vertices are 3. I'm going to directly point here. This is minus 3, 0, and this is 3, 0. The hyperbola has vertices. Yes, this is the vertices. So 3 and 0 minus 3 and 0. The hyperbola, it's going to be in this form for C. We are going to, I'm close drawing. This is actually, let me wait for that one. Given that the length of its conjugate axis is 8, so it means that here this one is, and this one, it's going to be 4n minus 4, because this is equal to 2b, and 2b is equal to 8. Okay, the last part, let me read and with respect to that one I will continue. Find the eccentricity and the coordinates of the foci. Find the asymptotes. Firstly, let me find the b value. B is equal to 4, which means the coordinate of the conjugate axis is, totally the distance is 8, also it's given here. So the places are 4 and minus 4, it's going to be. And the foci, the vertices are 3 here and minus 3 is here. Okay, with respect to that one, I'm going to find the foci, which is this is the a value, minus a. This is actually the lengths are always positive. So the length here is a, the length is a, this is 2a. And here this is 2b, which is b, and here is also b. So a is equal to 3, it's going to be a is equal to 3, and b is equal to 4. With respect to that one, a square plus b square is equal to c square. 3 square plus 4 square is equal to c square. 9 plus 16 is equal to c square. 25 is equal to c square. C is equal to plus minus 5 we are going to find. So it means that focus point here, and here it's going to be minus f point, which is equal to f and f prime, not minus f, f prime. It's going to be, this is a and a prime here, and with respect to that one, our parabola, it's going to be something like this. Here it's something like this, and here it's something like this. It's going to be okay. The last part, we are going to find the asymptotes. Asymptotes, y is equal to plus and minus b over a x it was, which is equal to, for this question, y is equal to plus and minus, the b value is equal to 4, a value is equal to 3, x it's going to be. Okay, so we found the asymptotes of, and if the asymptotes are plus and minus 4 over 3x, approximately it's going to be something like this here, or let me use this one. Yes, and it's going to pass through the here, and here it's going to be, and approximately something like this it should be. Okay. And if we find the eccentricity E was equal to C over A, and it's equal to here 5 over 3 it's going to be the eccentricity of the parabola. And the coordinates I didn't find. Let me find the coordinates and finish the question. The coordinates are minus 5, 0 and 5, 0 is going to be.